Welcome all of you again to this forum. Today, let's have some discussion on Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta. Last time when we met, we discussed about Sankhya and Yoga. Now we can add another dimension to that discussion, and that is Vedanta. Well, now some differences we have pointed out between Sankhya and Yoga, Sankhya Darshan, Sankhya philosophy, and Yoga philosophy. Both of them, they base themselves on two respective divergent or apparently divergent things: Sankhya on knowledge and Yoga on karma, action or work. Now, knowledge and work, Sankhya and Yoga, we can broadly say that these two things, Sankhya and Yoga, they respectively point out two things, and those are knowledge and work. The second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita deals with that knowledge, Sankhya and Sankhya. So many things that come under Sankhya, and we have to some extent discussed about that. And Yoga, that also we have discussed. And Yoga and Sankhya both are necessary. Both are necessary. That's why the synthesis is there in the Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge is important and work is also important. Now, the Bhagavad Gita begins with an insistence on work. When Sri Krishna tells Arjuna to fight, to take a part in the Yuddha, the great war. So it is insistence in karma, work, action. Then in this second chapter, we come across the knowledge. Knowledge. What is death? What is life? Why one should not bother about death? Death is an inevitability, and whoever bears a body, he or she has to die. All these things we have come across. And what is soul? But the soul doesn't die. Soul is immortal. All sorts of things we come across in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that is Sankhya Yoga. It is pure knowledge. It is pure knowledge. And towards the last part, and as I have already told you, that this Sankhya Yoga, perhaps it is one of the longer chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, containing almost more than 70 verses or shlokas. And in that, Sri Krishna in depth described everything. And he says knowledge is more important. So, what we come across in Karma Yoga, again Arjuna asks, "Oh Lord, you say that knowledge is more important than work, and then how come you are again putting me into work? You are again insisting on work?" And both of this Sankhya and Yoga, they have been brought in a very larger frame, and that larger frame is Vedanta. The Bhagavad Gita is itself a part of Vedanta, as we have come across that the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and the Bhagavad Gita, these three constitute the Vedanta. So, Bhagavad Gita itself, we can say, it is a Vedantic frame. It has put a frame, and in that frame, it has put Sankhya, it has put Yoga also, and then tried to synthesize both of them. Pure Sankhya, the Bhagavad Gita has not accepted. Something from Sankhya, Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita has accepted. Again, something from yoga, the Bhagavad Gita has accepted. Those which are necessary for uplifting man. Following rigidly a particular thing is not the Bhagavad Gita's ways of doing. No rigidity in following one single path or single way. So, everything has to be synthesized. Knowledge and then work. And both are important. Yes, if somebody doesn't know what to do, or maybe he or she doesn't have the sufficient knowledge to march ahead, to soar ahead, he can well begin with work. Sometimes we don't understand. Knowledge is not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody can have that pure knowledge. But before knowledge, we can involve ourselves in work. Work anybody can do. So we can begin with that attitude to get indulged in work, in action. But gradually, we have to aspire for knowledge. Knowledge has to come here. In order to polish our work, knowledge is necessary. Knowledge is necessary. In one of the shlokas, the Bhagavad Gita says, Buddhijukto jahatiha ubhe sukrute duskrute tasmad yogaya jujjasva yoga karma sukausalam. Buddhi is necessary. And skill, it emanates out of our doings, workings, work, action. So all these things are necessary. This on the Vedantic pedestal, these things are put, which sometimes seemed apparently, diverging from each other. They don't meet. But the Bhagavad Gita has brought them together. And that is its hallmark. And both of them have been accepted well. Sankhya has not been rejected, though fully it has not been accepted. Yoga has not been rejected, though fully it has not been accepted. So some parts of Sankhya, some parts of Yoga, they have been accepted. And they have been put on a pure Vedantic frame. Sometimes the Veda itself, it has also its own contradictions. There are many, they accept this, only we can call it Veda. The Veda has two sides. One is Jnanakanda, and the other is Karmakanda. Some people, some sages, or some researchers, or maybe some sadhaks, they accept the Jnanakanda of the Veda. But some people, they only like the Karmakanda, because Veda sometimes it has the two things. Hymens are there, mantras are there, and side by side, the Veda also has taught us some rituals. Most of the foreigners, foreign researchers, they say that the Veda is nothing but only a list of rituals. Rituals, for example, yajna, and then other things, sacrifices. All these things are there. So there are two sects of people who also viewed the Veda in different ways. Some people, they liked the knowledge, Jnanakanda of the Veda. Some people, they were only concerned with the Karmakanda of the Veda, the rituals. And there was a difference between these two. There was a great difference between these two. Some people believed that rituals are not necessary. The hymens, the jnana, the knowledge that the Veda offers to the world is much more important. But there are others who said, no, 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 the hymens, the knowledge, those are nothing. This karma kanda, whatever rituals they have taught us, they can, take us to a great, they can take us to a far distance. They can help us to achieve what we want. So, again, the Bhagavad Gita has brought them together. In this second chapter, in the Sankhya Yoga, we can also get the Bhagavad Gita has criticized the Veda, and in no uncertain words, Jamimang Puspitang Vacha. The Bhagavad Gita says, whatever we have read from the Veda, there are all flowery words, only flowery words. They don't have any relation with the reality. In reality, the reality is something else. It doesn't have any relationship with these flowery speeches that the Veda has taught us. And even the Bhagavad Gita also says that whatever we have come across through the Veda are not really needed. Of course, in later chapters, it has also given attached much importance on the Veda. But right now, as I told, these two sects, the people who believed in Jnanakanda and the others who believed in Karmakanda, they also find a common place here in the Bhagavad Gita. Because the Jnana and the Karma both have been accepted in the form of Sankhya and Yoga. So Jnana and Karma, in many ways, the Bhagavad Gita has tried to unite them. And even the Bhagavad Gita has also said, in the second chapter we will get that Sankhya and Yoga, the people who say that Sankhya and Yoga are different, are just children. They are just children. They don't know anything. The seriousness of the topic, they seriously lack. So that's what also the Bhagavad Gita has said. So in a way, what do we get here? We get that it is the greater synthesis. The frame is Vedantic frame. And two divergent views have been put there in a very synthetic manner. What happens then? Sometimes when this, Hindu religion was at its, nadir, when the Buddhism, emerged, and it raised its head like anything. At that time, this Hinduism, Hindu religion, they took a nosedive. And what did the Buddhists do? They virtually followed the Sankhya philosophy. The same atheistic views, because in Buddhist concept, we won't find the God concept. In the Buddhist doctrines, the God concept is not there, as in the case of Sankhya. And then, to some extent, that liberation they have called Nirvana. So mostly they have followed the Sankhya philosophy, the Buddhists. No God concept is there as it is there in the Sankhya philosophy, and this way they went on. Again, when Shankaracharya came at a later stage and he revived Hinduism, at that time again, he also some parts of Sankhya he followed along with the other things. It was a revival, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. His was his own views. We are not here to discuss that things. But again, there was a revival. But however, the Buddhists sometimes they followed, particularly this Mahajan and Hinajan. These two sects of Buddhists are there. The Mahajanists, they followed the Sankhya philosophy. Well, that is not our topic of discussion. But however, this great Vedantic frame gave us, a large canvas to see all the recipes, if you can put it that way, all the recipes of our previous scriptures. I deliberately call those recipes because they are also very tasty. They also uplift our soul. Sankhya, as I told, Sankhya and Yoga, they may be different in their approaches, but they have a one aim, one goal in common. That is upliftment, sublimation, elevation of the human life. So, whatever is the fact, this great Vedantic frame, the Gita we call it, it has put Sankhya and Yoga at their proper places with a synthetic view. So, this large frame, no other scripture has offered except the Bhagavad Gita. Karma, then Jnana, then at a later stage will come the devotion, bhakti. But first of all, karma has to be done, and it has to be done in a dispassionate manner. There should not be any passion attachment with the karma. Then, when karma or our action comes in contact with knowledge, jnana, then it also becomes raised. It gets to a perfection with the touch of knowledge. When knowledge comes into the fore, this karma doesn't vanish. It is still there, and it should still be there, so that it can be uplifted. With, in company of knowledge, its appearance will change, and change for better. So that's what our discussion was about, this Sankhya, Yoga and Vedanta. In this way, we will try to continue the discussion of the Bhagavad Gita, how several things are there. And as I said you earlier, we are not going to, recite the Sanskrit verses along with their meanings. Well, in the course of discussion they may come, but that should not be our only aim. So thank you so much.